Channel 10.
What's up, Channel 10 podcast listeners? Before we get into today's show, we have to take care of some business first. We need you to help support the podcast by going to iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, or wherever else you listen to the podcast and commenting, subscribing, rating, liking, favoriting, whatever it is that you can do. We need you to do it to help us get higher in the rankings. Also, don't forget to check out channel10podcast.com. You can leave us a comment there as well, and also you can check out our great back catalog of episodes. Also at the website, you can click on the store link and purchase great Channel 10 podcast merchandise. Thanks for listening. We appreciate your support. Hit us up anytime, channel10podcast@gmail.com, channel10podcast.com. Reach out on Twitter, Instagram, SoundCloud, Facebook, however you interact. And with that, let's start the show.
And we used to think that people would catch on. But if you're not from Queens, if you don't got Time Warner or whatever, like, well, I didn't know that.
Do it, yo. Yo, word up, man. It's a different channel, son. Word up, on, man. Word up, watch the channel, son. Different plane now, man.
It's all good.
Word up, all good, baby, in every hood, son. Word up, yo. CNN, Network, Channel 10. It's on again. Street niggas, it's grown men. Bold face, get in your face. Stay in place, yo, crime lace. Cast more beef than Scarface. CNN, Network, Channel 10. It's on again. Street niggas, that's grown men. Bold face, get in your face. Stay in place, yo.
Call is now being recorded.
Yo.
Yo.
Welcome back to the Channel 10 podcast. It is I, the almighty AR in the building, and I'm alongside
Sin God Superior.
And we're here back with another episode. Currently waiting on our guest. Hopefully he pops through. That would be Tru James from Stone Mecca and the Wu-Tang family. But in the meantime, in between time, he was just having a little off-air conversation about the hip-hop news of the day. So it just came out that DMX was found in a parking lot, unconscious, not breathing, and with no pulse. Now, they revived him, they said, and Swiss Beats said he's in good spirits, but there's a lot of speculation. You know, his camp is saying that it was a really bad asthma attack, and you know, DMX has been known to have issues with that. And of course, there's the whole drug thing. And, you know, apparently someone said, this is all hearsay, but someone said that they saw him with a whole bunch of white stuff, you know, white powder. And then it was said that they used, what's that stuff that they use, that cops carry around now when somebody's about to have an overdose and they give them this thing to kind of stop it?
Yeah, I don't know the name of it.
Yeah, but I saw a lot of rumors and stuff going on about that, but you know, hopefully he is really in good spirits, because when I heard that, man, it just made me sad, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I really need to go back and you know, like DMX is one of the artists that I really need to revisit. You know, I just remember that. I don't know. I really only really remember his singles, but not like his album, cause like as much as you do, for real. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, his second album, I probably still know most of the words from that if it's playing. But I remember when DMX first came out on the radio, and you know they played the song. I think it was "Get at Me, Dog," and Sheik Luch was on the hook. And back then, you know, nobody knew what the fuck a DMX was, so we thought it was a group. Well, then, you know, as time went on, we eventually found out, you know, about the Dark Man X. And, you know, his first album is classic. His second album is classic. His third album is pretty good. His fourth album, it had a couple of joints on there. I think the album after that was the one that had "Hit 'Em on the Floor, Get 'Em on the Floor." That had a couple of little joints on it. I think that's the one that had the song with Cameron on it that was dope. But I mean, DMX, man, like, this dude was on a song just growling and making dog noises and sold millions of records. Like, that's just crazy. He ended up being a huge movie star. Like, the way people talk about Jay-Z, now, it wasn't no Jay-Z, none of that. It was DMX.
Yeah, it was. I mean, he really, put forth that blueprint.
And yeah, like two platinum albums in less than a year. Like,
yeah. Then he had like the Exit Wound soundtrack out, and then he had was it the Great Depression at the same time?
I believe so. Yep. The Great Depression. He had the Cradle to the Grave soundtrack.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He was in the movie with Aaliyah. He and I remember I read his book. I was either in middle school or high school, and his life is just crazy. And of course, I kind of consider him to be a Baltimore MC. Like, I remember back in the day on MySpace, where it has Where You're From, he had Baltimore on there. And then more recently on one of the BT ciphers, it said from Baltimore, Maryland, and it had DMX.
Oh, it did?
Yeah.
I never paid attention to those BET ciphers since they've been around.
Oh, oh man, some of them are really good. Like,
I mean, they're kind of like the freshman cover to me after a while. Like the first like 3 freshman covers were like important, but now it's like, eh.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's another conversation. Like, sometimes I wonder, do I not care about the freshman cover because it's not important, or am I just old?
I mean, I wouldn't say it's because you're old. I mean, you look on these blogs way more than I do, and you're always, giving me like the new shit I need to listen to.
Yeah, but usually I'm behind.
I mean, well, yeah. I mean, but after a while, you don't have time. Look, put it like this. Like, there are people who sit around on blogs, as we know, and like just comment all day, and we don't have time for all that.
That's true.
We have lives.
Yeah, and it's like, there was a time, I remember there was a time in my life, it was before World Star Hip Hop is, what it is. But there was a time when I used to watch every video that came on World Star.
Really?
Yep. Every single one. But
I was never a World Star person.
I mean, this was before they started posting all that ratchet stuff. After they started doing that and it turned into like a whole bunch of coonery and buffoonery, then I made it a point never to give that site any page views.
Now, I guess if you don't mind, I remember what you did in 2013. Remember when you ripped that video off of World Star because it was the only site that had it, and you put it up on yours?
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
What was that video again?
Russell Simmons has, what is it that he has? All Deaf Digital, and they did some type of crazy skit about Harriet Tubman and a white man, and I ripped it real quick and I threw it up on my Tumblr and on my website. For Vegan Rap Nerd, everybody check out veganrapnerd.com, veganrapnerd.org. I gotta do something with that soon, but yeah. Had to go to World Star. I don't know if I've been on World Star since then, actually.
Well, do you still have that video on your site?
I think it eventually got taken down because I had it on Tumblr. It might still be there. I'm not even sure.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't. Do you still have like a file for it on a hard drive or something? I
might. I'd have to look for it. I've been through so many computers and hard drives and things.
So all you gotta do is like redrop that, and it'll probably become like a topic again.
Yeah, and I completely forgot about that until Russell Simmons was on one of these podcasts and he was talking about it. And I guess his view of it was he thought, his platform, he kind of lets people do what they do and create how they want to create. And comedians are always pushing the envelope and pushing the boundaries, and a lot of people are just really sensitive. So, you know, sometimes when you're an artist and you're doing your artist thing, and you have space to create, you know, some of your wild ideas might end up coming out, and then you get that liberal backlash to it. But I mean, I can't lie, it was pretty bad.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I didn't really find it funny. I mean, I guess it's a certain way you got to do it. So maybe they just said they didn't have like the best comedians to do it, and mind you, this is like really me just vaguely remembering.
Yeah, me too. But like, you know, there has to be some type of like editor sometimes, or some type of voice of reason. Like, okay, you have a good premise. Now, how can we develop this premise and make it something that's funny? And, you know, I'm not a comedian or anything like that, but, you know, I follow a lot of comedians and I kind of know their process that they go through. And, you know, they might start off with a joke. Like, even the top comedians, you know, even like a Dave Chappelle, you know, sometimes they'll come to like a spot that has a whole bunch of, you know, up and coming comedians and lesser known people, or maybe even some open micers. But, you know, they just come to like some low key nondescript spot, and then, you know, whoever is on the bill, you know, the club will just pay them, and then they just don't get to perform. And then that comedian, like Dave Chappelle, he'll show up and they'll just pay all the comedians and they won't ever take the stage. And Dave Chappelle just goes and he works out his jokes, and you work them out in front of an audience until you can perfect them, until you can, you know, put it on the special or put it out there for the public. So I think sometimes when you go straight from conception straight to consumer through YouTube, you don't get that working out the joke process. It just comes right out like bam, and it's not, you know, developed correctly.
I mean, yeah, you know, I would say, at least arguably, the same thing can probably be said about music, period. In that, you know, you have this platform where, you know, you can just drop anything whenever you want to. And, you know, based on the podcast that we listen to, some executives and even artists who are probably trying to turn into executives, they complain about, you know, that there's like really no time at this point in the moment, at least, to try to really mold the artist the way that it was some years ago. But at the same time, I mean, should you censor an artist? Should you censor a comedian?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a difference between censoring. Like, it's like when I go back and listen to some of my songs that I did when I was in high school, it's like, it's a good thing, you know, I didn't have an opportunity to just put them joints out, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I think now you have people who just put anything out willy-nilly, whereas, you know, I think the artists that do have that grooming, they end up being more successful in the long run. Like, take J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar. I mean, like, J. Cole was grinding for a long time before his album ever came out, you know. And Jay-Z even said, you know, it's going to be a slow run, but he's going to last for a long time. And then, you know, Kendrick Lamar, he went through a long grooming process. Like, you heard his name for years before anything really came out, you know, that was substantial. So,
I mean, yeah, but it still seemed to me that that, you know, all their projects as K-Dot and as in early J. Cole, it was still based around what they wanted to do.
Yeah, that's true. I'm trying to think of an example, like, let me think of somebody who just kind of came out with some crazy stuff. Like take a Mac Miller, right? Like, his first album, I didn't even really listen to it, but from what I hear, it was like some kind of poppy mess. And now his music is like more lyrical and thoughtful and, you know, pretty dope. And, you know, he's still selling his records and everything like that, but he's not jumping out there with, you know, it's like he's had that grooming process, and luckily he was able to have it in public and not, you know, have his career ended.
Yeah, I need to watch that Fader documentary about him when I get the chance.
Oh, the one about him being on drugs?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
Keep hearing about it so much, and then he doesn't say anything about it, and I guess that's probably why, so people could really get the full story through there.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of grooming, I see Ab Soul is back to tweeting about his music not coming out, and he's, warming the bench for TDE. But he went on his little Twitter rant the other day, and then Top Dog said, when it's your time to come out, that shit better be fire, or something like that. He said. So it's like, it's kind of a weird dynamic because he's waiting and he's getting frustrated and venting it, but he seems like he's still, down with the team and all that. So it's like, I think back in the day when you didn't have Twitter, you couldn't get those feelings out there for the public, and those conversations are probably more behind closed doors. But it's kind of cool in a way to see an artist go through it. But
I mean, yeah, but this, and I think I've mentioned this to you before, is that Ab Soul, he's not commercial in the, I guess, you see what I'm saying? I really can't see him putting out like a, like that song with that Kendrick had with Drake, or I'ma Be Alright.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, he does have his records, like that one joint off his last one, Smoke Some Weed, nigga, Shake That Ass. Oh, remember that song?
Yeah.
Like, I think he does have a couple neo classics under his belt. I think that's one. I think another one is the joint that he did with Danny Brown with Janae Aiko on the hook.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about him though is like he recycles shit so much, but I kind of understand why he does it, because he might say something when his fan base isn't that big, and it's kind of dope. So then he has to like say it again once he gets a little bit bigger.
Well, I mean, at least he does that for a reason. I mean, you have people like War Cloud who just recycle everything. Yeah, like half the time, like I was listening to like some shit that I thought I'd never listened to, but then the first part of the song is like some shit that he said 3 years ago. And I'm curious to know why he does that. I don't know, but I mean, it's something about Ab Soul in that when he came out with the pineal gland, it just seemed as if he was in his element. It got, it got like a lot of reception. It seemed to me, at least, got a lot of attention, and I feel like that's what he's going to get. He's not going to be like a Kendrick Lamar or J. Cole.
Yeah, I mean, to me, he's like the in between Schoolboy Q and Kendrick.
What? He wants to talk about chakras, man. Like, no, niggas don't want to hear that shit in the club.
Talking about chakras and getting high off all kind of drugs and being ratchet, like, and sometimes he does it all on the same song. It's like I guess he's trying to kind of find his balance in a way. But what's interesting is his last album, I like that the most, but I think most people really like Control System. But I really don't like Control System. I mean, that one song that he had, though, it's one of the saddest songs I've ever heard in my life. What's it called? Like, The Story of Ab Soul or something? The one where he's talking about, what's her name? The chick that killed herself?
Oh, yeah. Did that one have Janae Aiko on it, too, singing?
I don't think so. Lori Joe, that's her name, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, that's one of the saddest songs that I've ever heard.
It's so weird that like how TDE and ASAP came out around the same time.
Oh, you remember that moment? One of the illest hip hop moments in the past couple years was when it was Summer Jam, Hot 97 Summer Jam, when Kendrick Lamar had like the whole TDE and the whole ASAP mob behind him. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're like all like one crew.
I mean, I really feel like they are. I mean, well, at least in the earlier stages, like 2-3 years ago, they seemed like one crew, because whenever someone came out with an album, at least two of the other side was on it.
Yeah.
Like Schoolboy Q and shit, like his habits and contradictions.
Yeah. I think ASAP and Schoolboy Q were talking about doing a project together at one point, but I see ASAP is more into other things now. I was looking at Kanye's what was his Twitter account or something, and he had all these like fashion type pictures, and one of them said photo taken by ASAP Rocky. So I guess ASAP is doing photography for Kanye West or something. I don't know.
Oh yeah, well, Kanye talked to TMC. It came out today, I think. I think I got it off of Two Dope Boys, and he was talking to them about the album. It was in Manhattan somewhere, but then ASAP Rocky came out of nowhere. Out the same house, the place, whatever it was. But like going back to TDE and ASAP, the ASAP mob. I've noticed like a lot of times in their mixtapes or real albums or whatever like that, like the end of their album has like a whole bunch of like introverted reflective kind of like songs or whatever like that.
Yeah.
And I would say like out of like that whole that whole span from like, let's say ASAP Ferg's album came out 2011, 2012.
Damn, was that long ago?
It was a while ago now. I would just say 2012 right now, like from like 2009 to like 2012. You have like a lot of this like reflective music coming out of both camps, and they were always either like in the middle or toward the end. So like Cartoons and Cereal.
Oh, that wasn't even on the project.
I thought that wasn't on Habits and Contradictions.
Nah, that wasn't on any project. You talking about the joint Cartoons and Cereal? That's a song with Kendrick Lamar and Gunplay.
Yeah,
that wasn't on anything.
Oh no, all right. I'm getting that confused with the like the last song off of Habits and Contradictions where
Blessed.
Yeah, like that one. And then whenever I think of Blessed, I go like up to like A$AP Ferg's album, and I think of Cocaine Castle.
Yeah.
That is a really, I mean, it's dope. Like I guess literally too, but at the same time, it's like a really sad song.
Yeah. And then even Isaiah Rashad, when you listen to Schoolboy Q's verse on the last song on the Sylvia demo, and how he ended off, what he said, he talked about his daughter. He said something about, she's full of love and you full of liquor, but you always be my nigga. Yes, you'll always be my nigga. Like, yeah, they do tend to do that. And then J-Rock was just going off on that too. Like, I guess that's the formula.
Yeah, probably. Well, I mean, since you really blessing my attention. I guess 3 years, 3 years now later, looking back on it, how do you feel about Kendrick's flow now?
I mean, I think Blessed was one of his illest flows ever. Like, it's one of them songs that came out too early, I think. Like people, a lot of people, their first experience hearing Kendrick is To Pimp a Butterfly, and that's, I mean, To Pimp a Butterfly is almost like The Love Below. Like, it's really not that hip hop. But like, if you were to go back and listen to Bless, and like a lot of people don't mess with it, but if you go back and listen to Bless, the way he fit on those drums on that beat, it was crazy. Like, if I was Schoolboy Q, I'd be like, yo, how dare you do this to my song?
That's the thing, though. That's the thing. I mean, people mess with The Love Below compared to, Kendrick's album.
Yeah, I mean Kendrick's album is like it's real artsy, you know. It kind of reminds me. Did you ever listen to the Roots last album?
No.
Like his album, like that shit is just out there. Like when you talk about art music, you know, like weird art shit. That's the Roots last album, and I think a lot of that is Kendrick's album. I mean, you know, it's only 2 songs that. A little bit more than 2 songs that I think your general urban music listener can really vibe with, and that's All Right. The one he had, I Love Myself.
Oh God, I hate that song.
Oh, that joint is rocking.
It's too happy, man.
I mean, that switch up was crazy. Like, I mean, I hated it when I first heard it, but I mean, he was going off on that. But like, he has, I mean, on that song, on that album, he just has like weird spoken word interludes and like parts where he's just screaming, and then like spoken word things in between songs that build, like it's repeated, but then it adds more to it every song. And then like a huge Tupac interview at the end. Like, you know, it's not an easily digestible album.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I thought it was overdone in some parts, but I'm not mad at it.
I mean, I think he really pushed the boundary, and I'm curious to see what he's going to do next, because he did say that he has kind of the beginnings of an idea of what he wants to do next, but he's kind of like Outkast, I believe, to where like all his albums are going to sound different.
Well, I mean, you know, it's kind of funny because I remember when, you know, after Good Kid, Mad City, a lot of people were saying like, you know, can he really do another album at this point? Because he pretty much put his whole life story on one album. So what is he going to do after that?
Yeah, I mean, I was one of those people like, damn, like, it's kind of like that Illmatic effect. Like, you know, where do you go from here?
I mean, he's still building, but I mean, even looking back at Nas, you know, like a lot of people will say that it was like their Nas album compared to Illmatic.
Yeah. I mean, Lupe said that, but you know, me personally, my Nas album is Life Is Good. I think I can say that.
You really like that album that much?
Yeah.
Damn. I don't think I fully listened to it to that extent, man. But
I mean, Life Is Good is like Illmatic, just more fleshed out. It's like Illmatic from a grown man perspective, where Illmatic, he was like in his, you know, he was a teenager.
I mean, I don't know. I think my Nas album, I don't know, maybe for me at least, the Nigga album minus a whole bunch of songs.
I see. I thought you were gonna say Lost Tapes. I was gonna say you can't say Lost Tapes.
Oh yeah, well yeah, I know that. But I mean, yeah, but in a perfect world, I would say the Lost Tapes over Illmatic. I mean, he said certain things that other people like nowadays don't exactly still even say. I mean, they haven't exactly said yet.
I mean, in a perfect world, my Nas album would be, I Am Nostradamus, the bootleg, where it told a story from the beginning to the end, and like you can kind of piece together what it was supposed to be through unreleased tracks, and then some of the tracks that were on both of those albums, and like starts from his birth to his death. Because I think the intro was like the song with Slick Rick talking about the birth, and then the end was the fetus joint that was on
Lost Tapes.
Yeah.
Alright, so
my bad, I had it the other way around. The end was the song talking about his death with Slick Rick, and in the beginning was fetus.
Alright, so damn, I forgot I forgot what I was going to say. I mean, well, I mean, well, what do you think? What do you think about the Nigger album?
I mean, I think it was good. I think it was an album for its time. I think that it didn't necessarily meet expectations, but just as a body of work itself, I think it's quality. I mean, I'm trying to think in my top five.
No pun intended, right? You think it's quality?
Yeah. Like, I think that I'm trying to see my top Nas albums. If I would put Life is Good in there, Illmatic, Stillmatic, oh yeah, can't forget. What was the one? God's Son. I think that's a great album that's definitely slept on. Yeah, it might be like my fifth one.
I mean, it seems to me that you pretty much like every Nas album for real.
I do. I mean, what's really wrong with any Nas album? I mean, like, what Nas album doesn't have classic records on it?
Nostradamus only had like one record that I can really think of. The one with the like the
with the Christmas beat.
Yeah, the Christmas beat. That like the same thing that I feel like I always thought a Dipset Christmas will really do, but it never did. I'm so pissed about that.
I mean, Nostradamus had God Love His Hood niggas, cause on the cross was the crook nigga. Like, come on, he had
that was Godson, wasn't it?
No, that was on Nostradamus.
Oh,
he had the joint, I think it was like the first song maybe, or like second song on a DJ Premier beat that was ill, which nobody ever talks about. What else was on there? So I gotta pull it up. He had
the joint with Genuine on it.
I mean, I didn't think that was bad. He was on MTV talking about pay me back like 48 gets blacks. Let me pull up Nas on Apple Music.
Damn, you really use Apple Music like that?
I mean, I actually don't. Like, I don't use it enough. I use it for Beats One sometimes. And you know, certain things like the Drake joint that might come out, or like Future's album, which isn't on anything else but Apple Music.
You don't remind me.
Let's see. Hey man, you gotta get down with the program.
I thought I was, man. I figured I'd just go to Apple Music, use your account, call it a day, but no, it didn't work out that way. And I had to find something to do so I can listen to the shit.
Oh, you know, my password is different because you got to do different stuff for that. I'll figure it out and I'll let you know.
I mean, yeah, but still, you still have to download iTunes, which I refuse to do.
Oh, I mean, you can get it on your phone and your Whoa, can you get on your tablet? I don't think I get on my tablet, but you can get on your phone.
Man, I'm struggling with space right now on my phone, man. I just got Google Music back to working based on my space. Yeah,
I just put that 32 gig SD card in my main entertainment phone. So, damn, I forgot about a lot of shit. I forgot about, you know, I've never listened to QB's Finest, like in its entirety.
I think I had once.
How was it?
I mean, I wasn't mad at it, but I'm trying to remember if QB's Finest, like the joint that was on CNN's The Reunion album, if that was also on that album, that compilation.
Are you talking about Queen's Finest?
Yeah, Queen's Finest, yeah.
Let's see. Hold up. I just had it. Nas and Queensbridge album. I don't think it was on there. No, it wasn't.
I feel like I feel like that song is connected to that compilation. I could be wrong though.
I mean, QB was on a definite run during that time. Hold on, Nostradamus. All right, so, oh yeah, Life We Chose, that was dope. Project Windows, Come and Get Me. I think. What's the joint with DJ Premier? Let's see. Yeah. Remember this?
Vaguely.
Alright, that was dope. Shoot 'em up, of course. Oh, Last Words. God Love Us Hood Niggas. Even Big Girl. A lot of people, I think Jay-Z said something like, is it Big Girl or is it Shorty Owe You for Ice? God Love Us Hood Niggas. I like this song. Oh, that wasn't a good song. But yeah, I get a couple little classics on this one. I Am. Yeah, New York State of Mind Part 2. Hate Me Now, which is like one of the best commercial rap records ever to me. Yeah, he has some classics on here.
Well, see, you know, this is like the thing about Jay-Z and Nas to me. Ironically, they both suffered from really bad production throughout most of their careers.
But why does nobody ever talk about it with Jay-Z?
I don't know, man, but like Volume 1 and Volume 2, they had some bad, like really bad production, and I'm just like, it really sounds like he just got like a teenager and just had him start banging on the keyboard and saying certain parts of some of those volumes.
He did.
No, Swiss Beats, yeah, but even outside of that.
What's this? Volume 2.
Cause they got money, man.
Oh man. Here you go.
Over. Ride down, nigga. Y'all ready? Yeah. How many of y'all wanna ride tonight? How many of y'all gonna die tonight? How many of y'all wanna ride tonight? Nigga, ride or die, ride or die. How many of y'all wanna ride tonight? How many of y'all down to die?
Sound like he just did his best rendition of a Tupac hook.
How many of y'all wanna ride tonight? How many of y'all down to die tonight? How many of y'all wanna ride tonight? Ride or die, ride or die. Hey yo, fuck y'all, niggas, I crush y'all, rush y'all, with the force drawn and I touch y'all, plus y'all, little motherfuckers ain't ready for war. I seen your team in the crisis before, but I forgot, same rules apply, don't try to switch up your style. Y'all niggas is punk and pie, and that's plain as I, much better than you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. And whenever I think about Jay-Z, I mainly think of these kinds of things. I mean, he had Reasonable Doubt, but then when he became bigger, ironically enough, he just went to straight sucky ass beats.
I mean, that was the trend, because you gotta think, like, even with Jay-Z and with Nas, it was like, by the time their second albums came out, it was a whole new era in hip hop.
I mean, it was, man, but Trick Daddy, a lot of these Southern people, like, looking back on it, they had better beats than them. It's either that, or they just didn't fit on the beats that they chose, Nas and Jay-Z.
I mean, that's the thing about the South. I think the South always had dope production. People just slept on it because the South were the first ones to really incorporate live instrumentation. And so, like, when you go back and listen to like some old UGK or something like that, you know, they got live instruments on there.
Yeah.
Like, you know, certain things can't compete. So, you know, I think Swiss Beats, you know, to his credit, he was the first one to really bring that Southern style up north. Like that song Down Bottom off Rough Riders Volume 2. Man, that's still a classic. I mean, you know, even Baltimore was kind of built off that, you know, with the club mix. But I don't know, like, yeah, there's a lot of whack songs on these first couple Jay-Z albums. Money, well, like some beats, it's like some of these beats were kind of whack when you really listen to them, but they were able to make the song better. Like this, like just listen to the beat. Like he got like that's like the sound from Home Alone on Sega Genesis when you slip. I think the difference on Volume 3 was he had Timbaland, and you know, going back, you know, I remember I was sitting there listening to that album. I didn't realize how much Timbaland really did on there, but he did a lot.
Man, Jay-Z didn't start to become good to me until the Blueprint.
And see, I didn't like the Blueprint. I still don't really like the Blueprint. It just sounds like he's just freestyling through it and just trying to sound like it's from the heart. Which, you know, maybe it is, but you know, when they say that he did that, like the bulk of the album in a weekend,
yeah,
it sounds like it. Like it's just like, yo, I got these hot beats. I just gotta say some shit on them because they're just so hot.
I mean, you know, yeah, but I mean, at least for me, it's, I guess American Gangster is my favorite Jay-Z album to this day.
Yeah.
And then it would probably be the Blueprint, and then probably Reasonable Doubt.
I like the Blueprint 3, man.
I couldn't get with it.
I mean, he just sounds so angry and bitter, and just the beats are hard, and he just saying whatever about whoever, and
I think that was my issue, that he just it sounded like he was trying too hard.
I mean, he sounded like he was really hurt. Like,
about what?
About people just talking about him bad, like Beanie Siegel and people like that. Because remember, that was around that time, and like you can tell, like a lot of that stuff is kind of directed at Beanie, and like, you know, maybe even Cameron and some people.
Well, at least most of them made up. No.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's funny because who was it? Man, who would I listen to recently? It was somebody else listened to on a podcast, and they were talking about how, like, you know, growing up, they just wanted to be on Rockefeller Records. Like, that's just what you wanted to do.
Oh, Freeway? Well, not Freeway. That's too early.
No, it was somebody who ended up being on something else. Hold up. Maybe it was a Rap Radar joint, but it's like, you know, Rockefeller had it on lock in so many different ways. Like, even Freeway has so many different hits.
I mean, but they did, but no one sold records outside of Jay-Z for real. That's the funniest thing about Rockefeller.
I think the only people to go platinum outside of Jay was Cameron, the Young Guns, and Kanye.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not a lot. I mean, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it took the Young Guns like a while to go platinum.
Yeah, with Grammy nominated. That was a dope ass album. That first Young Guns album.
Yeah, I mean it was. I mean, I was like really disappointed by the second one.
Yeah, I couldn't really get through the second one like that.
Yeah, they were partying too much, and I like wasn't Petey Craig. He was on one song, and I was just like really upset about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably when not Jay-Z, Just Blaze probably got a little busy. It's like that album, you know, I was like, oh, that's why Just Blaze is so dope. And then, you know, going back and listening to Freeway's first album, it's like, oh, snap, like, you know, he got some joints on here too. Then you go back and you listen to Memphis Bleek's albums, and he got some joints on there too.
I mean, yeah, man, people, like, they always overlook Memphis Bleek, man. Like,
you can't sleep on Bleek. Like, he got some joints. And then, like, whenever you get Bleek, Jay-Z, and Beanie together, like that song,
Marcyville.
I wouldn't even gonna say that, but that's one of them. Marcyville, that song Hypnotic, it's like 6 minutes and it's just so chill. Like,
what album was that off of?
I don't even know.
I want to say the Dynasty, but I think I'm wrong.
No, that wasn't on the Dynasty. It was either on the Memphis Bleak album or Beanie Siegel album. I think I always think it was on Memphis Bleak's album, but I think it was on The Reason. Let me see. Nope, it's not on The Reason. But speaking of Beanie Siegel, I really don't like The Truth.
Well, the truth hurts, man.
Like, I like some songs off of it, but I think, that was that era of that crazy ass production. And, I know it's sacrilege to say you don't like The Truth. I love Beanie Siegel, and he does have some good records on here. But, I like The Reason. But of course, The Becoming, that's his magnum opus.
Yeah, I mean, he really came into himself on the Becoming.
Yeah, like, man, that's that. We talk about that Rockefeller music.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like when they were talking with him about Purple Rain and everything like that, and his usage of Purple Rain, I got kind of annoyed because I forgot to ask Schoolie D about that.
Yeah.
Because like you remember that interview that God, what's his name, Emilio Sparks had on Vlad TV maybe 5 years ago now or 6 years ago.
Oh yeah, he was saying that's the thing in Philly, right?
Well, yeah, but then even more specifically, he was talking about Beans and how Beans be grooving. And he kept telling he kept telling Vlad you don't understand, he really be grooving out here, he be gone.
That's how he got caught up.
I mean, yeah, but I think knowing the drugs that an artist uses kind of puts the music in perspective.
Yeah.
I would say.
I mean, Schoolie D did say that.
Oh yeah, he did say that. Now, for all we know, he was probably doing that, but we don't know now. And we don't know if he'll ever get him back on here anytime soon.
Yeah. Schoolie D, where you at? Holla at us.
Yeah. But, I mean, I'm excited for a new Beanie album, I would say. I feel like he's hungry and,
Yeah. I mean, it's gonna be definitely an adjustment with the voice.
I mean, I really feel like the voice fits him, though.
Hold up, man. This incense ain't blowing out. It's like a big ass fire. Okay, there we go. It does fit him, but I don't know. It's like, his range isn't as robust as it once was. But
I mean, well, yeah. I mean, well, I guess we'll never see another State Property movie based on his range, but
yeah, man, we need some more PD Crack. We need a lot of stuff, man.
Maybe we can get him on. I mean, or even Beans for real, because I mean, of course, they didn't really go into his childhood and everything like that. If he's willing to even do that,
I think we reached out to PD Crack before.
Oh, I don't recall.
That seems like something we would have done.
I mean, but I don't know. I reckon he's busy now, though.
Doing what?
He's on tour with State Property. They do tours here and there.
Oh yeah. Man, I just remember, man, I used to go to the flea market, and every time I saw a new PD Crack mixtape, I had to get it. Like his music is just so infectious. But Jay-Z just said, that guy's crazy and keep him away from me.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Jay always knows from the PD Cracks to the 50 Cents.
Yeah, I mean, that was so funny. Like, was it Jay-Z? He was like, yo, I told him that 50 Cent was coming. Y'all gotta get on your grind. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
in the way 50 Cent puts it, Jay knew I was coming. That's why he quit.
I mean, I believe that. I mean, Jay is a businessman for real, so I'm pretty sure he probably did that.
Yeah, Jay probably could not have withstood 50 Cent. Like, because you got Eminem and Dr. Dre behind that, Jimmy Iovine, like, you got the Interscope monster. Like, then you got Lloyd Banks, like, you know, back when they were all together as a unit, like, you had Lloyd Banks, you had Buck, like, these are not people you want to play with. Like, Smoking Section had a post recently. I meant to send it to you, and they had like this old 50 Cent, like it was this old G-Unit song, and they said something about 50 Cent's verse, like, yo, remember when 50 Cent used to sound like this? And like 50 Cent was just, I mean, it was just ridiculous how ill it was. Like,
And now he does shows at BB King's.
but I mean, yo, his music is ill. Like his Kanan mixtape, you know, it's like he's hungry.
I mean, he is, but I mean, I feel like his name, you know, puts a stigma on him.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I always rock with 50. Like, and you know, I can always see where he's coming from. Like, when people say he single-handedly dismantled New York hip hop, and then, you know, he was like, yo, nobody wanted to deal with me. Like, I couldn't get a deal in my city. Everybody turned their back on me. You know, a white boy from Detroit had to come get me. And then when I start popping, all y'all want to do songs and get all together and stuff, man, fuck all y'all.
I mean, I can't blame him. I mean, and also, I mean, it's hard to think like nowadays is that, you know, Lloyd Banks went like what, double, triple platinum. Well, he went double platinum, and then Game went like triple platinum.
No, Game went 5 times platinum.
God damn.
And that's just domestically. Nigga, Game sold a lot of records. I mean, even though Game isn't what he once was, yo, the documentary 2 and 2.5, which came out within a week of each other, sold pretty well. And real talk, Game is one of those people, like, you can't really name, or actually you can name only like one whack Game album, and I don't even think he considers that to be an album. Like, Game, you know, he really, like, he's one of those artists that really had to earn my respect, because I remember back on them Who Kid mixtapes, he would always be at the end with some whack ass song, but like, when the album came out, I guess us being on the East Coast, we didn't really get his impact. So I was like, yo, why is this guy just so popping? But the album was dope. Second album was pretty good. The third one I thought was slept on. Like, he had a lot of dope ass albums. And then he had all these mixtapes. I mean, he has a lot of material out there.
Yeah, like, he does.
He got that Perp and Patron mixtape, which is 2 discs. Then he got like the Perp and Patron joint that came out after the 2 discs, like the week after, which was like the leftover tracks. So we had a couple joints on there. Like, some of those mixtapes have banging songs on there, songs that were supposed to be on the album but they didn't catch, but they were actually singles. Like that joint he got in the Phantom, he got joints with Akon, he got joints with Nas. These are like mixtape cuts, like.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Game he's still like one of those people that I have yet to like really, really get into. Sometimes he just doesn't hit my ear right.
And like, I don't know, to me the things that people criticize Game for are the things I think makes him a dope MC. Like, you know, he gets criticized for having a lot of features, and then on every song he sounds like the person he's featured on, but his name is Game. Like, he's like the Shang Shun of hip hop. Like, who do you know can get on a song with somebody and just mimic their flow like that and just that's kind of his thing that he does, and he never even like it's never put out there. Like he never says that this is what he does, but you put him on a song with Raekwon, he rapping like Raekwon. Put him on a song with Nas, he rapping like Nas. Put him on a song with Jeezy, he rapping like Jeezy. Put him on a song with Migos, he might get a little Migos flow to him. Like, you know, that's skill to me.
I mean, yeah, it is. But then I guess at the same time, people want to see game for game, which I guess essentially they have seen from the documentary 2.5 in the first one.
Yeah, I mean, well, I wouldn't say the first one. I mean, you know, 50 Cent was heavily influenced in there, but I do think that he did say his next album isn't going to have any features, and it's going to be entirely produced by one producer who did a bunch of beats on the documentary 2 and 2.5. I forget his name, but that'll be interesting.
Yeah, that should be really interesting. And you know, speaking of a one producer album, I'm really excited for the Currency and Alchemist joint that's supposed to be coming out soon.
Oh, I didn't even hear about that.
Oh yeah, man. They've been talking about it for the past month.
Yeah, I mean, Currency's one of them dudes, man. He got so much stuff out. I can't keep up with it. But yeah.
I mean, I can't either, man. But shit, I mean, if it's a Currency and Alchemist joint, man, like I'm all for it, man. Like that Covert Coupe.
Yeah.
That shit is so. That shit is. I mean, I think it's probably like one of the best albums that I heard. Like 2011, 2012, whichever year it came out in.
I still, you know, I've skimmed through it. I still gotta delve deep into it. I mean, any album that Alchemist produced, you know, a lot of times is really dope. Like Action Bronson, the joint he did with Action was dope. And who else? Oh yeah, the one with Prodigy. Psh.
Yeah, and that no one talks about.
No one talks about. I mean, and then I even went back and finally listened to the other one, the Pimp one. What was
Return
it?
the Mac.
Yeah, that's dope too. Like I like that album. And Evidence and Alchemist, I haven't really gotten at them like that. Or Oh No and Alchemist. Like, Alchemist is so versatile. Like, you know, he just does shit with anybody and just kills it.
Well, I'm waiting for him to come out with like a trap song.
Does he have one? I'm trying to think. He might have him on the low. You know, I think a lot of these people do. I think they might come out with other names and come out with like trap type stuff. But he probably does. I mean, Green Lantern is doing it. He's dope with it.
Wait, he has?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Green Lantern got some shit. But I miss the era of the Green Lantern mixtapes, like some Shady Records volumes 1 and 2, like the Live on Arrival, the Fire in My Heart, the Papoose. That's crazy. Like, you know, having a girlfriend, you know, you get subjected to a lot of love and hip hop, and it's crazy to see certain people the way that they are now.
Yeah.
Like, yo, Papoose, like, I don't know. I mean, it's very respectable. Like, he's not. It seems like he's going out of his way too much to not be ratchet on there. Like, he's just all about what he wants to do for Remy. Like, yo, he rented out some type of castle so they could have a real wedding. And then she decides that she doesn't want to do it after he already put down a deposit for it because it's going to be too cold. And like, he's complaining about it behind the scenes, but then he's like, it's all good to her. And she's like, yeah, you know, we're going to do something else, but we still got the keys to the castle.
I'm surprised this nigga even has money like that to be getting castles and shit.
I mean, he did seem real hurt. He was like, I already put down the deposit. Like, it seemed like it took a hit. But I mean, you know, somebody like Papoose, I remember one time back when his career seemed like it wasn't really doing too well, I saw some random video of him performing in some country with like thousands of people, just a sea of white people. And I was like, oh, that's what he's doing.
I mean, yeah, but you know, we've had this, like, even when he was like mixtape Papoose, and we always talked about whether or not, you know, he was going to, you know, maintain his relevancy, because it really didn't seem that way based on the commercial impact of a lot of Southern music at.
Hello? Yo.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said it didn't seem that way based off the commercial impact of the Southern music at the time.
Yeah, at that time, and then, you know, especially when T.I. came out, and then especially when he partnered with Just Blaze for the Rihanna joint, it was a wrap. So,
yo, Just Blaze and T.I., like on another note, yo, they make a lot of dope records together.
I only recall that one song. I mean, they made more.
Yeah, on that same album, Just Blaze did like the intro to it. I'm talking to you. Talking about. Oh man, that T.I. album, that was a dope ass album. Like, that was a very well. I mean, that album was real political. Like, that was. I'm trying to show I'm a good person because I'm about to go to jail right now. But it was very well put together. And I know he had some songwriters helping him. Like that one song that he had. I forgot who wrote it. That big single that he had. Shit, what was it? Now I gotta pull it up. I don't even remember what the goddamn album was called. And then he had the joint with Common and Pharrell. Hold up. T.I. Oh yeah, Whatever You Like. I don't think he wrote that. Well, you know, I know he didn't write that. What is it, Paper Trail?
That was the one that had Swagger Like Us on it, right?
Yeah. Yo, he had a lot of songs on this. Oh, here's a joint. Oh yeah, 56 Bars, the intro. Let's see. Just Blaze did at least didn't do that one. This one?
Never have to sell a brick again. Must I tell a bitch again?
Oh man.
The bullshit I'm addressing, check, I'm on some next level shit. Never been fucked in the game.
I don't think Just Blaze did that one. Was it 56 Bars they did?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that he didn't write a lot of that shit.
Oh man. Hold up.
Hey Jim, you know the old shit.
Just Blaze did another song on here. I'm pretty sure. Was it this one?
Never have to sell a brick again. Must I tell a bitch again? The one sell 30 mil like the store, bro.
No, definitely not Just Blaze.
Yeah.
What a mess. But no matter what. Oh, Every Chance I Get. Was this it?
Real talk, true story.
It wasn't this one. Now, he did another song here. I know he did. You Ain't Missing Nothing, Collect Call. Maybe it wasn't this album.
I mean, I get his albums mixed up.
But, yeah, T.I., like, I remember I used to ride around listening to trap music. Like, he had some records on that first album. He had the joint with Beanie Man. I think Gene redid that one. Fuck What Else You Get Shot. But yeah, even T.I.'s new EP that not recently came out, but it came. Oh, you know what? It was on King. It wasn't on the new one. He did.
No more hand clap stuff.
Yeah, it's Just Blaze right here.
You gotta turn the lights down. Cool bass got to knock him out the ceiling. Just Blaze. Sit, ready? All right, homeboy. Here we go. I'm done playing.
Remember this?
I can't catch y'all, nigga, but I can make an example out of her.
I mean, vaguely.
And then he did the intro, I believe. King Back.
And the prophecy ran.
me skip for a little bit.
1, 2, 3. You need to go to trap music. I got locked up for a second. Big rap urban legend, and that'll bring you up to speed. Who knew you could fit on your wrist a whole pound of diamonds? I'm number 1 on the list while your clowns are climbing, wishing to be in positions that you found it. Since you niggas do what I say, I'm worrying that.
Yeah, that's right. T.I. had the King album. Then he was about to go to jail. That's when he came with the other joint. Oh yeah, I'm Straight with BG and Young Jeezy. Yeah, King came out around the same time. I remember this so clearly. It came out around the same time as the Carter 2. Because that was my freshman year at Howard. And it was after Jeezy's first album and Kanye's second album, I believe. Yeah, because I remember when I first went to Howard, when you walked around, you just heard Jeezy's first album. And I remember me and my homegirl, we went to go get Kanye's second album. And then I remember my roommate was from Atlanta. And I remember having debates over T.I. versus Lil Wayne, King versus the Carter 2 and all that. The Carter 2 is still my favorite Wayne album. Well, it's one of my favorite Wayne albums. I think a lot of these Wayne albums that people don't really pay attention to are really good, but yeah.
I mean, I think, at least for me, I Am Not a Human Being.
Yeah.
The first one is to me, it's his best one.
Yeah, that was an ill album. I probably had to agree with you on that one.
Yeah, and then, I mean, mixtape wise, probably No Ceilings.
I would have to agree with you, but I do really like the Squad Up mixtapes as well.
Oh, God.
What you say, oh God, for?
It just, I don't know, man. Like, it just didn't have any kind of guidance. Like, I don't know.
I mean, to me, the Squad Up mixtapes were the definition of mixtapes, because it was like, it sounded like somebody was just DJing some beats and blending them, and transitioning them, and he was just rapping over them, just straight through.
I don't know. Maybe I need to go back and listen to these Squad Up mixtapes because.
I think him. I mean, yeah, I think you're right. It didn't have any type of guidance. I think that's what's kind of made it dope. And I think No Ceilings was like kind of going back to that format a little bit, but like polishing it up a little bit.
Yeah, well, I mean, maybe I need to go back and listen to that because apparently, that's when Wayne was hungry. Based on what people tell me, so.
Yeah, I mean, Tru James just hit me back.
What do you say?
He said, "Hey man, is it too late?"
How do you feel?
I mean, we might as well. I mean, this is like an episode right here, so we got one in the bag. We might as well just get him, man, because I do want to talk to him.
All right, cool. All right, well, how about we just end this and we can break and then go to Tru James.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Right. So let me just text Tru James back.
Get replenished.
Get replenished with the incense and the everything else that we dealing with. I got my Success oil. Shout out to my girl, straight from the New Age store. I rubbed the Success oil on my microphone and my laptop, so I can be real successful. You know what I'm saying? It's been a very successful day. It's been a very successful week. And, we'll be back real soon with Tru James. Peace.
You gotta do it, yo. Yo, word up, man. It's a different channel, son. Word up, on, man. Word up, watch the channel, son. Different plane now, man. It's all good. Word up, all good, baby, in every hood, son. Word up, yo.
CNN, Network, Channel 10. It's on again. Street niggas, it's grown men. Bold face, gat in your face. Stay in place, yo, crime lace. Cats more beef than Scarface. CNN, Network, Channel 10. It's on again. Street niggas, that's grown men. Bold face, gat in your face. Stay in place, yo, crime lace. Cats more beef.